Good morning. Today we're going to talk about the transition period of ryegrass to Bermuda grass. Some of you will have paspalum, some of you have Bermuda grass, but one of the things that we really need to discuss right now is transition. The transition period is when you're switching out grasses, going from a cool season grass during the winter months to a warm season grass in the summer months. This period typically happens right around the middle of April and can extend all the way until June depending on the weather. If we get hot much faster, then the ryegrass is going to burn out much faster. If we get some fluctuations in temperature where it's cool and then hot and then back to cool, the ryegrass might stick around a little bit longer. So one of the things that we need to do is get the ryegrass out. And how do we do that? Well, the first thing we do is cut the water back about 40%. And by doing that, if you're watering twice a week right now, you might have to cut it back to once or just cut your times back 40%. Once you've dried it down a little bit, you're going to want to go through and mow it and get the mowing height down, allowing sunlight to get into the plant. Why is sunlight important? Sunlight's important because the ryegrass is providing shade and it's serving as a tree canopy over top of the grass. So when we mow it a little bit shorter, like we have right here in this field, you can tell it's not scalped. There's still a lot of green material in here, but we're starting to thin out the ryegrass. If you take a good look, you can see kind of the two different types of grass. The ryegrass is a little bit darker green, and the Bermuda grass is starting to poke through at this time of the year. This is extremely important. If the ryegrass is too long, it's going to just provide shade, and your Bermuda grass is going to choke out, and you're going to start to see dead spots all over your lawn. Now, when I say cut the water back 40%, this is not a big deal. If you start to see blue, gray spots all over the place, it's okay. The Bermuda grass is going to come back. We're trying to stress out the ryegrass. We do not want it to be the dominant grass at this time of the year. Both of them are actively growing, but our goal is to get the Bermuda grass stimulated and growing. So what's the next step after we get it stimulated? It's going to be to put down a fertilizer. You got a few choices at this time of the year. My suggestion is to go with something a little bit slower release, like the Soil Burst 442 you can pick up here at West Coast Turf. You can do a 21-7-14, triple 15, 11-52-0. Most of these products you can find at your local hardware store, landscape store. They're all over the place. You're going to want to put down about a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So if you want to look for how to calculate that, you can go to the blog, and I have some different formulas on there at exactly how we can calculate 1 pound of nitrogen. Once we get the fertilizer down, then you're going to start to bring your water back a little bit. And your water is going to still stay off maybe 30%, and you're still choking out the ryegrass, but you don't want to cut the water off completely where the Bermuda grass is going to die underneath. One of the old philosophies people used to say is, just turn the water off completely and the Bermuda grass will come through eventually. The problem is you're hurting the Bermuda grass by doing that. So slowly you have to incorporate the water back into it. So if we move over here to the one lane over, you can see where we've cleaned up the grass. We're stressing it a little bit. And you can see some of these spots out here in the middle of the lane where we've just kind of cut the water back, but the grass is still green down in here. And what's green is the Bermuda grass. It's not the ryegrass that we're seeing. So the Bermuda grass is starting to become stimulated. Once it gets hot enough, it's in the 90s, 95, 100. This Bermuda grass is going to take off and push any of the remaining ryegrass out. So just to kind of go over a couple other things that you can do if you're struggling to get the ryegrass out, you can always lightly verticut. You can power rake. And there are chemicals that allow you to transition. Now, keep in mind with these chemicals, if you put them down, typically you have about a 3 to 4 week period where the grass is going to be completely brown. These completely kill the ryegrass on the surface, and it takes time for the Bermuda grass to come through. So these are something you would see more on a golf course where they have a little bit of downtime between seasons. I've seen it on some parks where they've had to let the ryegrass go a little bit longer into the season. But typically, this is not something you're going to see in a home lawn or need to do. Simply, if you cut the water back, lower your mowing heights, and stay on top of it, you're going to be fine. The transition is going to be easy. By the middle of May to the 1st of June, you're good to go, and you got a perfect lawn. We're going to go over just a couple lanes over here. I just want to show you kind of what the finished product is. We've been working some of these lanes a little bit more than we have in the past. I've been trying to get the ryegrass out of these lanes a little bit faster, so I've been keeping the grass at about a 1/2 inch. Now, most lawn mowers, a rotary mower, is not going to go down to a 1/2 inch. We know that. But if you have a real mower or you can get down to 3/4 of an inch, that's perfect. If you see this, the predominant grass here is Bermuda grass now. This is about 80% Bermuda, maybe 20% ryegrass. And we just put some fertilizer down. You can see on the surface, it's starting to grow. We're increasing our water. Our summer watering rates are going to be about 3 to 4 times a week, putting about 1 inch of water down per week. I hope this quick lesson on transition helped you. If you got any further questions, refer to the blog. Appreciate your business. Thank you.